Tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Cut my life into pieces.
What?
This is my last resort. Suffocation, no breathing.
Welcome.
So hardcore.
Welcome to the Blacklist AFTERBUZZ After Show. I can't even take ourselves seriously.
No.
Nando wanted this song so bad.
No, I did not want this song.
Julia and I were like, no, Papa Roach.
Papa Roach,
what?
who does that?
And Nando's like, we have to have it.
But it's my jam.
I know.
That's what he said.
I wanted to pick Legal Tender by the Handsome Furs.
Right.
Which was the opening song from the episode.
That's what the ladies call you with your new beard.
Yes.
The Handsome
They call me
Furs.
Legal Tender.
No.
Yes, totally. Legal Tenders.
Welcome to the Blacklist AFTERBUZZ After Show. We're here again. I'm Joe Braswell. I'm joined as always by the lovely Julia Cearley.
Hello, Braz. Hi, everybody.
I'm also
And
joined
Nando.
by the well-groomed, lovely, beard manicured Nando Velasquez.
Someone manicured. I did get a comment on YouTube that I have the
I saw
homeless
it.
look going on. So
Yeah.
so
They called you
thanks.
homeless,
I do
homie?
have a home. I do have a home.
You don't look homeless
It's
today.
true.
You look
I look a little more legit?
For
Really?
those of you watching on YouTube, he
Okay.
looks less homeless
You
than
look
he did.
dashing.
I appreciate that.
Missing is and Marissa Serafini's here too. On the ones
What's
and
up,
twos.
guys?
Hi, Marissa. Missing is obviously is Joe Sanfilippo, who oddly enough called me yesterday from San Francisco. He's hanging out with Larry Ellison up there,
that's what you do.
doing One World or Open World, where the big Oracle convention
Oracle
is.
thing.
But his anecdote, I gotta share this to you because it's so Joe Sanfilippo. His anecdote was like, yeah, so I'm up here and someone goes, do you watch that show, The Blacklist? I'm like, yeah, I do a podcast for that show right now. I gotta call Braz. So thanks, Joe. So
Wow, always
we
in his
did.
thoughts, aren't
This
we?
is the year of Flippo.
He's like, yeah, I do a podcast for that
Yeah.
show today.
today.
Wait a minute, I'm in San Francisco. So anyway, but he's working.
So
that's
if he's that present, you really trust his predictions. That's all
Yes.
I gotta say.
I don't know. Yeah,
The
what if he's
year
that
of
the
year of
Flippo.
Flippo. Year of
Okay,
Flippo.
buddy.
Oh,
We'll
crap.
see about
yeah,
that.
We'll see about that.
Well, have fun with Larry Ellison up there. We're here.
If that's really who he's with.
Yes.
He might not even know for real.
Who knows?
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, that might just be a story.
So into the episode,
Yeah.
in episode number 2, the Monarch Douglas Bank,
Number
Yes.
112.
number 112, where the players dwell. That's a song. Never mind. So room
Maybe you
112.
should have picked that song to open.
112, anyone? All right. So Monarch Douglas Bank. When I first saw this, I thought this was a person. Now, the first thing was Lord Baltimore. Then we had the Monarch Douglas Bank. I'm like, what is the royalty? Like, but it's actually a thing.
I like it.
I
Well,
like it.
I always knew it was a thing. I was just surprised it was on the list. It didn't make as much sense as everything else has been a person.
Well, you would think the formula, would be the list. The formula, which is the woman, the formula, Miss Kaja. How do you pronounce her name?
Kaja
Tomjnak.
Tom Sack.
Tom
No.
Sack.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tom
Kaja
Sack?
Tom
Yes,
Sack.
2 against 1.
Okay.
Tom Sack. It's
true.
Let's go with it.
Kamja
It's-
Tomzak.
It's true.
Kaja Tom Sack.
All right.
Tom Sack.
All right.
We might be missing a
This
little
might be the first
inflection.
time that we agree.
We
My
might be-
Polish is rusty.
We might be missing a little inflection, but
All right.
that's basically it.
But I thought you thought it would be called the formula, but it's called Monarch Douglas Bank. Let's start with some quick impressions. Give me 30 seconds on this episode. What do you think of this episode, Nando?
I liked it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, we most of the season 1 has been in New York, Washington D.C. It's
Yeah.
been all local. So even though I'm sure they just shot most of this maybe in sound stages.
What, you think they flew to Poland to shoot this?
I don't know. I don't know if they did. The exteriors were from Poland. Yeah, those nice little shots. So stock footage.
The
but,
sto-
the
but
stock
not
footage.
the yeah.
Yeah, but it's nice to see them go. I think I talked about it last week when we started seeing the Mossad agent, which we see a lot more of this episode. So we start getting some answers at least with her.
We'll talk about her later.
Yeah, we'll talk about her later.
It's,
but it's
Samir.
nice. It's nice seeing. It's nice seeing this whole thing like they're in a different country, and Wrestler and Keen are pretty much working with everybody against him at some point. So
Yeah.
it was really nice and dramatic, nice little European type of thriller.
Sure.
Type of scenes there,
Yeah.
trying to get away.
I love
like
that
that.
they opened it up international. We saw last week when they were in Africa, and this week they're in Poland.
Well,
so.
usually we see Red doing something like international while
He's got
they're
the
doing
jet.
stuff in the States, but now at least we get to see the team international.
Absolutely.
Too, which I like.
Thank God he has that jet because he is everywhere all at once.
Yeah, it's hard being an international.
He's rolling everywhere.
Criminal
Criminal?
mastermind
Maybe,
thing.
perhaps thing.
What did you think?
I like this episode. Last season, my favorite episodes were the episodes where the Blacklister of the week and our stock characters, all their stories intertwined. And I think this was a perfect example of that.
Right.
Everyone's sort of involved, so it doesn't feel as choppy to me as like, oh, this is happening over with Lizzie, but this is happening with the Blacklister. So I like that synchronicity there. I also enjoyed being able to get a little bit deeper into Red's past.
Sure.
So I'm really excited to see where that's going to go. I do want to say how right I was about the pill popping being a thing, Nando.
Yeah, I
guess-
couldn't
yeah, I
wait
guess
to say
Nando.
that. I could not
couldn't
wait to
believe it.
tell Nando about those pills.
Oh man, all throughout my notes there are times like pills,
Well, pills.
Pills.
More pills, Nando.
pills. I should have taken a tally.
Yeah, I wrote that down. Like
should have taken it.
wrestler gives gives her pills from his private stash.
Oh yes, his
Like
private
that?
stash. Make sure Lizzie's not
Yeah,
looking.
he's like, "Here, these will make you feel better." I'm like, Nando,
Pills,
gotcha.
Nando.
Okay.
All right.
I'm allowed to say something different than you guys. I don't have to be in agreement.
That's true.
You don't. You just
All right.
love it when you're wrong.
So the pills,
not
are,
about
the
being
pills are
wrong.
definitely a thing.
It's the year flip out.
So you're a flip out. I loved it too. I love how we're off to a really good start with this season because they're really doing a thing. And John Bokenkamp, thank you, talked about this in an interview pre-season, sort of saying how they're going to really have your standard Blacklister of the week like they've been doing, but really tease out some serialized plot elements along the way, which is kind of what they did in season 1. But this is off to like a really dense start. And between episodes 1 and 2, there's a lot of dense plot packed in there. It's like a weird thing where they give you all of these almost mysteries at the beginning of these 2 episodes, and you get a sense that we're going to unravel them as the season goes on. Because I mean, we've got, who's the common enemy between Red and Berlin? What's the deal with Red's wife? Like, what's the deal with our girl, this Mossad agent, bumping around? What's going on with a wrestler he's got some demons and all this other stuff? Like, all these things are gonna where's Tom Keene? Is he gonna be back? We all know he is, but I mean, when is Tom Keene
I
gonna
hope,
come back?
fingers crossed.
He's coming.
Well, we
back.
didn't see any hooded figures in this episode.
No,
so.
but he's gonna.
His
he's
fancy
coming back.
glasses.
So, but it's cool that they just keep piling the stuff on, and in addition to the stuff that wasn't solved from last season, the family stuff and the scar and the and then the burns and the remember Red's back's all burnt from the
Yeah.
fire. And
Oh, I remember that.
So just stuff.
Never hear the end of that.
Yeah, so
Still not convinced, but I'll never hear the end of
yeah,
that.
sure. So we'll see. We'll see how this thing. But I like that they're giving us a lot, and they're still giving us the cool Blacklister of the week. I did like that the Blacklister was an inanimate object, was a bank, was a thing.
corporation, yeah.
Although everyone in that thing was dirty as F, including Agent Solano. What's his
Solano.
name? Agent Solano.
Solano, I think.
Solano.
Yeah.
Who was he dirty? I mean, I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but was he technically
Salerno.
dirty because he
No.
was like on the?
He was I don't think he was. It seemed like he was dirty, but at the end, the reveal was he was protecting the bureau because the
Yes.
bureau also had money in there, and they funded
Right.
operations, including the Blacklist operation.
Right, exactly.
So yeah,
So he's protecting him, and then this is why he pulled the gun on Lizzie. Like, I can't let you.
yeah.
Okay, got it.
Which is weird because the
she-
very people that are paying her salary, it sounds like,
I mean, she would've
can't
been-
tell her that.
She would have been taking her to the same place. She
Yeah.
would have been taking her to the FBI just in the States.
I guess they just wanted to keep it as private as possible. They were afraid
guess.
that she was going to reveal that. It's like one of those top secret operations that even other parts of the government probably don't even know
Yeah.
that they're handling it this
Yeah.
way.
Well, let's unpack this episode a little bit. Let's get into the actual Blacklister, the plot here. So it opens. Well, first of all, we do open with Red with this very cool scene of seeing like a Red, a really a bloody faced Red. Calling Mr. Kaplan
Mr.
to
Kaplan.
clean up some mess.
AKA Kate, we learned
we
is
get
her
we get a Kate.
name.
Yeah, we get Kate. Like, don't tell me how to do my job, Kate.
Well, Kate was from season 1 too. She
Yeah.
was the cleaner.
She's the cleaner. She's
Well,
great.
but she was never. He only called her Mr. Kaplan. So
Yeah.
today, when things got really, really tough, he called her Kate.
Yes.
But I'm confused why he called her Mr. Kaplan.
Because that's
That's her name.
That's her name. That's her criminal name.
Season 1.
Her
But
criminal name is Mr. Kaplan. Okay,
Yes.
I'm trying to remember. The Mister threw me off.
Well,
Okay.
that was the whole
Joke.
bit.
Okay, that's the whole
I know
bit.
it was a joke. But last season, Mr. Kaplan, Nando watches, right?
I watched the show.
Okay, so
I
last
do.
season,
I can't remember everything.
We thought that was a really cool thing.
Yes.
that Mr.
Yeah.
Kaplan was a woman.
Got it.
Not
That-
only a woman, like a little frail old
a
woman.
little frail old. His cleaner was not some big burly super spy. It was a little old woman who was obviously a super spy.
I'm speaking
and
for the
cleaner.
people who didn't watch season 1 and probably just
Fair
jumped
enough.
on
Okay,
and just
that's
wondering why
smart
he's
of you.
calling a woman Mister.
Well,
Got
I
it.
think it's just a cool character little thing there. That she's Mr. Kaplan,
I
but we know
also-
she's Kate.
She's Kate.
Kate Kaplan.
Mr. Kate Kaplan.
Yeah, that's right.
There it is.
No relation to Gabe
I
Kaplan.
know it was just
No.
one,
No.
Old reference for an old guy.
Welcome back.
Carter.
and I'm lost.
Yes,
Ladies
that's
and
all right.
gentlemen. I like that. I actually have to say that was kind of one of my favorite scenes. It was so short. It was
Yeah.
so quick, but it showed a relationship between the two
Sure.
of them that transcends just employer employee. That she has the ability and she's allowed to talk to him like that.
Yeah.
And he snaps back, but then he apologizes to her, which is kind of
Yeah.
not a red-ish thing to do. So I like that.
I love that for all the reasons you said, but it's because in that one scene you get all the things you love about about Red. You know, sometimes you get the cool, kind of, smirky, in control Red. Every now and then you get the super badass, like assassin Red. This time you get a little bit of both. And this is an out of control emotional Red. We're very used to seeing Red in complete control. Steps ahead of everyone. And this is like his wife's out there. He's got a finger. He's pissed. He's killing them. He's killing MFs left and right. So
Nice
and,
save.
and he's like,
Nice
this
save.
got messy again. And he's, as he said, and Mr. Kaplan warned him. She's like, you kind of need to slow down.
Well,
you
I
know?
think
He admitted it.
I think there's definitely a history between the two of them, and seeing her again, seeing Mr. Kaplan again, I'm sure we'll probably get to see some more of her and maybe learn a little bit more. But she seems like someone who's fiercely loyal toward
yeah.
Red,
Yeah.
because she's able to save the day and come clean up his messes in the past, and she seems to have enough input on him to know when he's acting off,
Yeah.
when he's off.
Well, once he got the call about the Monarch Douglas Bank,
Yeah.
he had to calm down and realize. This is also cool about that scene. Like, he clearly had gone out. We don't see what happened. Blood on his face. Demi stomping around. There's 3 dead bodies. He's calling Mr. Kaplan. He's barking at her to just do her job. Don't worry about what I'm doing. He gets the call. He realizes that his words is he's far out on the edge of the limb, on the end of the limb. So he calms down. And then they think, oh, Red's back. He's calmed down. And then he turns around and just shoots that guy in the back of the head. It's like, whoa, Red's not effing around. Like, he's on some scorched earth shit. Yeah, he's definitely like, I will find Berlin at all costs. So that was very cool, and that was a very cool opening. I thought as well.
loved it.
And in continuation of that, the other cool part of that, which is sort of intercut with this, was it intercut? The bank robbery. Yeah, it was intercut at the top.
Yes, it wasn't a cut. It was mixed back and forth.
That was a great, well directed, everything. Because I love seeing a good heist pulled off, and then they were professionals. 6 minutes, the whole thing, cover their checks with the weird chemical, whatever that was. They poured it on the ground.
They had those like biohazard looking suits or whatever it was. Yeah.
And then that whole reveal that they weren't in there to rob anything or hit that bank. They were there to steal the formula. They kidnapped that one person, which was very cool. And then the other twist, we find out later that they stole the formula, but the formula is not a thing, but a person. So we do in fact have the Blacklister not being a person, but a thing, and then the thing inside the thing inside the thing,
The thing inside the thing,
but a person.
which is a thing, but not a thing.
Not a person, but a thing, but a thing inside the
it's a
thing
person.
is a person.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to say.
There we go.
That's what I meant.
I have no idea what you said.
I think I got it, shockingly.
That was cool. What did you think of the heist? The kidnapping?
Oh, I mean,
the
the
bank
heist-
robbery turned.
No, I thought
turned-
it was a really, really awesome. It was really curious to see why they were all dressed up, but it was obvious to
Yes.
hide the identity of the next, the person they were kidnapping.
Right.
But it was also, the twist was it was planned. She wanted
Right.
out, so they were actually
another twist. Yeah,
Yeah.
they were saving her.
It was planned. They were saving her.
Yeah.
That was the plan. So the one thing that I'm confused about this whole thing is when Red got the call from Warbalowski, he sounded very concerned, as if something was stolen that belonged to him. It wasn't just the formula and the fact that the formula had all of Berlin's assets, memorized. It was that it was something that could hurt Red as well, and we never really went back to that.
Yeah, I think that's. Well, I mean, I think that we're sort of think that there's a possibility that all these, criminal and underworld types have money in the Monarch Douglas Bank. So it's not unrealistic to think that Red may have some assets in there as well. So,
But he even said, as far as he was concerned, everything was stolen. Like nothing. The bank reported nothing, but as far as he's
Right.
concerned, everything.
so that's him knowing the formula was kidnapped.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Like Red,
I
Red
might agree with you though, actually, that the stakes might be a little bit higher for him for whatever is in that bank.
Yeah.
yeah. But
So-
or whatever the formula may
I
have
don't
as
think
well.
we're going to find out. I don't know if that was a dangling plot thread or what, or just to keep us off the track, maybe a red herring. But I felt like for some reason the stakes seemed high because it seemed like it was. Well, at first we thought that perhaps Berlin was behind the bank robbery.
Yeah,
I'm
so
sure.
that's what it felt like.
So it actually felt like they were on the offensive again, another offensive front toward Red, trying to get more information out of him, because they were going into safe deposit boxes. They made it sound like there was something in that bank that was going to hurt Red, and it ended up being the opposite. It was to hurt Berlin
Right.
that he wanted. So that's why I was
He
confused
saw an
about.
opportunity to
Yes.
get to Berlin.
Yeah.
So so we find this out through our boy, our man Aram.
Aram.
A good old Aram who notices that
Getting a little quippier every episode.
Hey, they're expanding his
Aram.
role.
People love
his role.
him.
He's the best.
He's
Somebody
great.
on YouTube thought we were dissing him last week. I'm like, no, we love Aram.
I dissed him because I mispronounced his name, but I mispronounced everything.
Yeah, you mispronounced everything.
Nando.
Yes, thanks. Thanks, Jay.
Nando.
Nando.
No, but I
Jalea.
I'm sorry, Jalea and Nando. I called him Aram for some reason because I read it, but of course it's Aram.
Yeah.
But no, he's fantastic.
Oh, he's my favorite
He
one
did
on the
that thing
task
where
force.
he definitely noticed that 5 people went in, 6 people went out.
Yeah.
Zoom, zoom, zoom. Look at her eyes.
Zoom, zoom, zoom.
It's a kidnapping.
I love towards the end, just a little throwaway line when Cooper comes in. We've lost control. What isn't broken here? The coffee machine.
Aram with the zinger. Zing.
no.
Every time.
Getting more comfortable there at the task force.
Yeah.
Welcome back, Cooper. Zing. I'm Aram.
He's going to turn to the copy machine.
yeah.
Making copies. Look at Cooper.
Aram watch.
Cooper making
We gotta count the Aram zingers.
Yeah.
He's got some good lines. No, so we find that out. So then this is the part where it gets a little weird. Like, so they send Wrestler and Keen to Poland, to
Yes.
Warsaw, to check this thing out.
on Red's suggestion.
On Red's suggestion, but,
Yes.
they go there, but they have no jurisdiction, so they have no weapons.
Yeah.
and there's that whole
They
bit.
can't make an arrest.
They can't make an arrest, but they're there with our guy.
And that's, if anything, that's just to make you realize that they're completely on their own when stuff goes down, when ish hits the fan later on.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So they get there, they check out the crime scene, they get Red on the horn. Red will be there in 3 hours. He's on the jet. They find the Red.
We also, before they leave,
Yes.
though, we also find out that the Mossad agent is following them.
Oh yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
that's key, and that
Yeah.
carries through this entire.
I don't want to
episode.
mispronounce her name.
Hold on.
Samar
we
Navardi.
got it.
Is
Samar Navardi.
Samir or Samar?
Samar. Sonar Navabi.
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 Vadi.
No,
I wrote B. I wrote it off the
Some of these names
subtitles.
are rough, man.
Well, I have it as Navardi.
That's what I have. Navardi.
I thought I wrote it off the subtitles when I was looking on it.
Subtitles
so-
aren't always right,
Oh
son.
no, I
Hulu?
do have Navabi.
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 2 against 1.
Okay.
Oh God.
You know,
No,
I have
0 for 2.
Navabi too,
I am
actually.
really
Oh, yeah, right, you do.
siding
Sure.
with
I
you
do. I
today.
swear, I have Navabi and then I have Navardi later. So I read it
Well, I have
somewhere.
Navabi.
Navabi
Navabi.
with a B.
With a B.
That's what I said.
And 3 against 1.
Navabi.
Yes, sure.
All right.
Okay.
Anyway, Samar, not Samir. though.
If Filippo was here, he'd agree with you.
Samar Navabi.
So Samar Navabi. So
There it is.
Yeah, we talked about her. Philip and I talked about, and I think we all did talk
Yeah.
about her last week, and she's cool, and we'll see if we see her, and we see her, and she's back, and she's a friggin' badass.
She's going to be a major presence.
Yeah.
In this.
So we see her following them, and then we get the whole cool red substance on the seat. Is it a chemical?
Well-
what is it? Is it something that
Is it
they use?
flammable? So just by knowing it's flammable, he figured out that
And it
it's
smells
actually
like roses.
jam. It's jam from a donut, from a Polish donut.
I'm also
Right.
fascinated how Lizzie sees this red substance. She can't tell what it is. Let me call Red. He'll know.
Yeah, and,
Yeah, for
and,
sure.
and guess
No,
what?
this-
Red knew.
Of course he did.
He's like, is it red? Is it flammable? Poof. He's like, Apollonia's donuts.
Jelly donuts.
Like
Oh my
the
god.
best jelly donuts this side of Warsaw. Like, huh? But it was cool.
Interesting. Way to go
Those
about
things,
this.
it does look good.
It did look good.
It did look good.
I mean, anything that you could set a match to.
It did look good. I don't know if there's any Polish places here in LA, but I want to try one of those things out.
There's a couple.
There's a couple. I'm going to try
There's
it.
one
I
in
want
Santa
to try
Monica called Wolsava. which is like Warsaw.
Will you bring us jelly donuts next week, please?
Yeah.
Well,
There's one in New York that I definitely love, but I don't think I've had that before.
we digress as usual.
Yes,
So,
of course.
So he, so Red lands. He goes to visit Apollonia, the sweet
Donuts.
old little Apollonia.
Who loves her some dembe?
Oh, my sweet gentle boy.
Loves her some dembe.
Dembe.
Can you blame her?
My sweet gentle
Who
boy.
doesn't love them some dembe?
And she's so sweet, and a rather long kiss by Red. That was a little, not long, but just a little long, not too long.
Wow, I wasn't paying that much attention to
Oh,
that.
that was like that was a smooch.
Okay.
I was like, what happened, Red? This sweet old lady. She's like, come here, Red. And I was like, Jesus. And then, anyway, but that was cool. And then, of course, the reveal is she's a big arms dealer and it's got a bunch of stuff. And Red has to tell her that some people, who you did business with, rob the Monarch Bank, and that's trouble for you. God, and she says, oh my God in Polish, and he says, God can't save you, but I can.
I love how when you buy arms from this woman, you also get a jelly donut.
Yes,
Yes.
part of the deal.
Yep.
Yeah, that's why that's what keeps them coming
The
back.
cherry on top.
That's what keeps them coming back. Well, speaking of which, we're gonna take a pause really quick for a
Donuts?
for a quick not for donuts, for a message. Oh, from our folks.
Wherever you live in this great country of ours, Dish can bring you great TV. From the big city to the farmlands, high on a mountain or low in the valley, Dish delivers all the great movies, shows, and sports you can handle. Monthly packages start at just $19.99 a month for 12 months. This is your day, America. Get Dish and get thousands of TV shows and movies on demand and free installation in up to 6 rooms. Visit dish.com/AfterBuzz. That's dish.com/AfterBuzz. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee and other restrictions apply. Requires a clear view of the southern sky. Call for details.
Did he just say we can get Dish for just $19.99 a month?
Well, yes, he did, dear.
And what do we pay for TV now?
A whole lot more than that, dear.
And why do we do that?
I don't know.
Get Dish. Go to dish.com/AfterBuzz. That's dish.com/AfterBuzz.
So Apollonia makes a mean jelly donut.
Yes.
Yeah, that was good.
That was a good donut.
that.
I love that donut.
So we
Red was right.
yes, no. So we find that out, and which is completely fine. So Red gets that information. He then knows sort of who the team is, right?
Yeah.
And finds out what's going on with that.
Breaks in.
The Marcha group. Is that right? The people who it doesn't
Yes.
matter.
Yeah.
It's a throwaway.
It was. Yeah, it was.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
But
I
then
was listening.
What's also happening, but at the same time, though, which is a sort of a separate thing, which I want to get to, is we're also intercut back and forth with what's going on with Berlin. Because Berlin has got a couple of things going on. First, he's very pissed about his assets that they're stealing from the Monarch Bank.
Yeah.
And he's talking to the guy who's the attaché, the bank president.
Sterling.
Attaché Sterling. And he's very, very upset with that, and and made him come to. Well, he came to New York to visit him personally, and assure him that everything's okay.
We also find out he's getting a fancy dancy bionic hand being made for him.
Yeah, that was a cool throwaway.
Yeah.
Yeah, by the way, he's like, yeah, it looks good, make it.
Yep.
So, which is a good look because he can't have that hook. I
But
mean,
of course that thing costs money.
Well, dude, I mean, first of
That's
all,
gonna cost some money.
Dude's a mastermind criminal. He's got you see, his bank accounts. He's got hundreds of millions of dollars. He's got a hook hand.
Oh yeah.
Really?
He's
Feel
all
free.
retro. He's hipster.
Feel free to get a
He's a
friggin'
hipster
hand,
criminal. There you go.
Berlin.
It's an ironic hook.
I guess
It's
it's
an ironic hook.
1979 with a hook hand. What is this, a Bond film? So it's ridiculous.
He's trying out for
Anyway.
Peter Pan next year on Broadway.
Yeah, but so I'm glad that they corrected that and they're getting a nice bionic arm, which means hopefully we'll see more of Berlin.
Yeah.
So which was obviously great. So yeah, getting a cool bionic hand ordered, and then he's going to have a nice visit with another visit with Naomi.
Oh yes.
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 And what looks like he's going to do something to her lips or
Little-
nose.
He
Tooth
compliments on
extraction.
how she has a nice mouth,
Yes.
which was very
Ominous and scary, right?
very Deliverance-like line.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Got a purty mouth,
Yeah.
Nando.
That was a little scary.
Yeah,
There's a lot of connotations there.
Yeah.
And then they just cut to the next scene right after that line. I'm like,
Yeah.
what? Like, oh.
And I think Spader, I'll talk a little more later, but Spader does a great job of sort of playing that smoldering anger. Like, you just know he's just had it. He's really, really wants her back, and he's really, we saw him at the beginning of the episode with the blood in his face and everything else. But when he got that tooth, like, just he just felt like, I thought he was going to, punch a wall or do something crazy or throw his drink. But he just, very controlled
I
anger.
think it's a complete frustration. He's not used to being out of control, and he's doing everything he can to get to the bottom of this and get to his wife, and he just can't get there. He's just not getting the answers that he needs.
Yeah.
Toothy tooth.
The newsflash. Spader's good at acting. James Spader,
Is he?
Newsflash.
He's not bad.
Breaking news.
good at
He's
acting.
not too shabby.
Just saying, so that was good. And then, so that's all happening. And then we also see this cool scene where Naomi tries to make an escape attempt. She does that bib. Now, what do you have to say
I
about this,
forgot
Jules?
to look back. I meant to look back. Did we ever see her hands? I
We
never
never-
see if she really had
Oh yeah,
all
no,
10 fingers.
no, she has a
Did
she
she?
had
Okay.
a little thingy, so she really lost her finger.
So
Okay.
I
Little
love
bandage.
me. Okay, good. I just forgot to go back and look.
Right.
I love me some Mary Louise Parker. I mean,
She's
this
great.
is the truth, and
Me too.
I mean, I am certain we will see much more of her because she is such phenomenal casting. You can't just throw it away on this sort of damselly in distress 2 episodes. Although she did have one badass moment with the chicken bone.
Yeah, chicken bone.
So, but she's awesome. That's all I really have to say
Yeah.
about her. I love every second of her. She really didn't have much to say.
Where did that chicken bone go, by the way? I mean, was it the nose? I mean,
nose or in
because
his-
but then later he came out and he's like, fine. I was like, hey guys, it's me. And I was like, what happened? Because first he was holding his nose for a while and then he's all messed up. But at the end of the episode, he was like, no bandage, no nothing. I don't know where that thing went.
I don't know.
But
I
that
don't
was a
know.
weird.
But I
Went
like
up his
that
nose or
she's.
something? I don't know.
I like that she's got a little moxie. Throw her shoe at the
Yeah.
video recorder, make a run for it.
Yeah.
She had a plan. Fake him out.
Yeah.
Didn't work out so well, but I thought it was a well laid out plan.
Little moxie.
Well,
Moxie.
you know what? I just
Moxie
felt
Hart.
like Berlin was just too smart to fall for that whole like I'm
Yeah.
gonna throw a lamp out the
Yeah.
window and break the window and then hide
Nice
under
little
a
move.
desk. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
It was-
kind
it
of
was
was
worth
like
a shot.
it was worth a shot,
Yeah.
but I was like I was like, all right, this moment's gonna come. He's gonna surprise the hell out of her.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. So
And she got out from under that table way too quickly.
Yeah,
I
a
would
little
have
too
stayed
quickly.
under there for a good long while.
yeah.
So flashing back, once they realize they realize what's going on with the formula. They, meaning Wrestler and Keen, they go to her house. They find out. They meet Kaja Tomzak.
Yeah.
Tom Sack.
Kaja Tomzak.
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 They find out that she has something called hyperthymesia. Hyperthymesia.
Yeah.
Hyperthymesia.
Hyperthymesia. Thank you.
Yes.
Hyperthymesia.
Which is like
a
a
highly
So
superior
she's really cold.
autobiographic memory.
yes.
Yes.
Autobiographical memory. Yes.
Yes. Highly superior not your run-of-the-mill autobiographical memory. Highly superior autobiographical.
Okay. Highly superior
Highly-
autobiographical memory.
I'm
Superior.
trying not to that. Anyway. So, yeah.
Hyperthymesia.
So she's
a blessing and a curse.
She's the personification of the formula. She's the formula.
Mm-hmm.
She knows everybody's account number. She knows why they're there. She knows how much money is everywhere. She knows everything, and she's the person. And so we find out there that first she was free and used to hobnob with everyone, and then she
So she was originally hired to eliminate a paper trail.
yes,
And then over time, they sort of turned her into a prisoner
right, and this was
and
her. This
controlled
was her
every
ticket
move.
out.
This was her move.
The stakes were too high. They didn't want to let her go. She
Yes.
had armed guards and everything.
So of course Keen and Wrestler are going to bring her in, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're going to bring her in, but of course a lot of people don't want that to happen. And namely, Agent Salerno doesn't want that to happen. So a fight ensues with Lizzie and him. Which
Nice
is cool.
little scene with them fighting while just past the two-way mirror.
Yeah.
Just friends, just having a nice little conversation with Kaja. Just a nice little
Yeah.
casual coffee talk.
It's very comedic.
Yes, very comedic.
Finally, she's like, Wrestler! He's
Yeah.
like, Don't. Just, but even cooler was when our girl Samar shows up. You know,
To save the day.
To save the
Yeah.
day with that nice little submachine gun. Just go. I'm like, whoa. So she clears. You guys are outgunned. I'll cover you. This was all, and that was so. This little cool chase scene, sets out. They get in a cab and they're they're on the run in a cab.
Kaja's been shot.
Yes, and Kaja's been shot, and Wrestler gets really sort of innovative,
It's crafty.
crafty by stopping the bleeding with
Tampon. We could say it, gentlemen.
tampon. Can we say that on a
Yes, you
podcast?
can. Yes, you can.
I think we're allowed to.
He stops bleeding with a tampon.
I'm not saying.
and not very it wasn't a very easy insertion there.
No.
Gentle.
No, it
Can
wasn't
you say
gentle.
easy insertion on podcast? No. So I'm just checking. I don't know. So yeah.
You better put explicit on this label.
Yes.
You better put explicit on this label for the
Yeah,
record.
so that happened, but that was very, kind of cool and neat, and then later he hooks her up with some pills, It's like, hey, yo, check this out.
I think this is the second time I say pills in my notes.
Hey.
This one says,
have these
ooh,
pills.
wrestler just happened to have some pills,
Okay.
Nando.
Okay, yeah, pills.
So,
Jeez.
but this whole escape was weird. Like, so they're on the run. It was kind of cool. I liked it. They're in the streets of Warsaw, and then
It's like all of Poland is against them.
yes, so the cops are dirty everywhere, and then the cab driver's like, they're in there, and then they leave, and they jack a car, and the car guy calls them, and then they call Red, and Red's already got a guy en route. What happened there? Like, this is where it gets a little murky for me.
Well, no, they showed that one scene of the guy saying that his car was stolen.
Right.
That it just seemed out of the blue from nowhere.
Right.
And then Red called. He said he had a guy that was handling it, and that's when she asked
My
him
man in
if you
Warsaw.
trust. Yeah, can I trust him? He's like, well, you can trust me.
It's like, no, you can't. But
you can't,
trust
but you
me.
can trust me. So yeah, and he was the guy. He set up the explosion.
Yeah, that was the diversion
Yeah,
that
that was
he
the
had
diversion.
planned for them.
Yeah.
So that'll happen. Then they hop a train.
Hop train,
As you do.
riding the rails.
Yeah.
Riding the rails. As Red said, his grandpa used
Oh,
to
that's
do.
right, he did say that.
I love that.
Riding the
My
rails.
grandpa used to ride the rails.
He had some good stories in this one.
Yeah, he had some good ones.
Yeah, he did.
So he finds out he takes the formula off their hands.
Yep.
And sends them on a first class flight back to New York City.
Without Kaja.
Without
Yeah.
Kaja.
He takes
He's going to take
Kaja.
Kaja off his
Gonna
hands.
take
because
care of her.
He's going to then use that to leverage. We did miss a scene early on where we saw Red getting his wonderful manicure, pedicure.
Oh, yes.
With
yes.
Rosa.
From Rosa, we found out was a surgeon, which plays into the thing later.
You know what was really funny too
Yes.
about that whole scene? When we first see Red, there's a close-up of the manicurist like treating one of his fingers.
Yeah.
And then he talks about Rosa being in a relationship with a 9-fingered bullfighter. So it was like I almost feel like it was all references to the finger that we saw at the end of last week's episode.
Oh.
From his wife.
Oh.
So yeah, so I thought that was really interesting that they had a manicurist working on one of his fingers, and then talked about her relationship with a 9-fingered bullfighter from Juarez.
Juarez.
Yes, Juarez.
I
thought that
cartel
was-
capital of the world.
Yes, I thought that was an interesting little throwaway.
Yeah.
Like he might be angry and whatever, but he could still. It was almost kind of like a joke that
Yeah.
only he knew the answer to, because I don't think Lizzie knew that he was getting pieces of his wife in the mail.
So all that happens. Then this is where I start getting upset. Well, let me just finish what this happens. We can go and talk about some couple things here.
Yeah.
So they they figure out that Red. So of course, Wrestler immediately goes into I figured the whole thing out, Cooper. It's all Red. Red had the bank robbed because he has interest in the thing. It's all Red. Red's the bad guy as usual.
And that's so freaking lame ass, short-sighted wrestler from
That's like
season
last
1.
season.
That's
It's
like
like
last
every
season.
freaking time. It's like it's Red. It's like you've been here for. I've been here for a season and 2 episodes. It's not Red.
Wow.
Ever.
Yeah.
Okay, Wrestler, give it
like,
up.
get used to it.
So he's like it's Red, and then
Well,
but
in his defense, he's all pilled out.
he's all hopped up on
He's
the
not
happy
thinking
pills.
clearly.
And then Cooper kind of like goes into that and asks the question that we're all asking: who the hell is Samir Navabi?
Yes.
Who the hell
It's a valid question.
is Samir Navabi?
It is a valid question.
Anyway, so that all happens, and then of course Lizzie cracks the doctor, the surgeon, the doctor. She goes and gets the thing and intercepts the chick and gets the codes and calls Wrestler, and then does that whole speech about like after all this time of trying to save, help Wrestler save Naomi and protect Naomi in the first episode, and now she's all of a sudden like, hey man, Naomi's got to die. She's got to die. Like she's like, I'm not gonna let you do this, Red. I can't let you have her. Like, you may die, your wife may die, but I'm doing my job
In the
here.
lives of thousands.
I thought that was that. None of that rang like this is the whole thing, which I'll get to in a second. So that happens. Red does not know if Lizzie's going to save her or not. Red goes to have the confrontation after a wonderful scene on the bench. I can't bury
meetup.
this.
That was
No.
a beautiful
meetup.
scene. I love that.
The
That was
meetup on the
awesome.
bench,
With
which
the
was awesome.
with the anorexic girl that they were
Twyla.
talking about.
It's
Twyla.
time we met.
Yes.
That was
Yes.
outstanding. Yeah, and
In
then
Coney Island.
the
I
Coney Island.
love that backdrop of Coney Island because these are such dark, villainous criminal masterminds, and you want them to meet in like a dark alley or
Yep.
a cigar lounge.
And it's so
cheap
playful.
The
beneath-
Wonder Wheels in the
And then,
background.
well, there it
Yeah,
is,
I love
Coney
that.
Island. I like that sort
Yep.
of dichotomy right there. That
Yeah.
was really that was really smart.
Little throwback to the Warriors, another famous Coney Island.
Ooh, the
meetup.
Warriors come out and play.
That's right.
Yeah, I
the
love that.
Warriors did it. We're just old. We're
God,
just
you guys are so old.
We're so old. But back to the Anorexic story was great.
movie.
Red did have that cool line about like, basically she spent her entire life chasing something that destroyed her. Make sure your passion doesn't be your sickness.
Yes.
From your sickness.
Yeah.
Revenge isn't a passion; it's a disease that
that
eats at your mind and poisons your soul.
That's right. And then Berlin has the best comeback of the night. He says, "Your wife is coming apart nicely."
Oh, so good.
Ouch. Your wife. And then Red
So
counters
good.
with another zinger. He's like, "You hear that sound? That's the sound of your checks bouncing."
I love that.
That was
Yes.
great. So there was like zing, 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 and that was a very cool.
I
and-
also felt really satisfied with that scene. I felt like I got a little bit of a payoff in a show where I
Yes.
never get that satisfaction. Where
Yes.
as soon as I think I'm going to get something, they just layer on more
I want
mystery.
Berlin to be Red's daughter.
that could be true.
I totally
Makes
want
sense.
that. I want Berlin to be Red's daughter.
He lost his
Okay.
hand in the fire.
It's their relationship.
No,
let's just
no,
have a
no.
buddy. Let's just have a buddy comedy with the two of them.
Buddy
Yes.
cop? Buddy criminals?
It's like a midnight run
Criminals.
with Berlin.
Midnight
Run with
Run.
Berlin and Red.
How many old Red movies are we gonna bring
I
up?
don't know. What was that? That's like
Midnight Run.
95.
No, Midnight Run's 80s.
No.
Charles Grodin and
right.
yeah, it's 80s.
Marissa, give me Midnight Run. I'm gonna say
I
1990.
will look it up for
I'm
you.
gonna say
Look it up.
1990.
There's a lot on the
I'm
line
probably
here.
wrong.
There's a lot on the line here.
I'm gonna say
sitting in-
89. I'm going 89. No, you
I'm
said 80.
sitting
I'm
in
gonna go 90.
Flippo's. I'm sitting in Flippo's seat, so I got to be right.
1988.
All right. I'm wrong for once.
Ding! For once.
All right.
Let me pull up my list.
Okay, you're right. Anyway, so we're way off track. So that cool scene was great, and then so they have the meetup, they do the exchange. Red doesn't know if Lizzie's gonna come through or not. Lizzie, of course, comes through, saves Red. They have that little poignant scene at the end where Red realizes that. What does he say, Julia? I know you have the whole thing right now.
I don't know what scene you're talking about. I'm lost on you right now. Red has said many things in this episode.
No, at the very end of the episode, he tells Lizzie that he confronts Lizzie and says thank you, and Lizzie says I realize that I'm charged with.
You're an asset I'm charged with protecting.
Right, I was just doing my job.
At that point, I sort of threw down my pen for a second. I was like, are we going to do this again? Are we going to be like, I love you, Red, I hate you, Red, I love you, Red, I hate you, Red?
Again, that was
I'm
kind of
gonna
like a
use
nod.
you whenever I can, but then leave me alone.
It was a nod back
Like,
to the stuff in
oh,
season
God.
one that annoy us.
So let's get into that for a second here, because we talked about paring this cast down. So the cast as we know it is pretty much Cooper, Wrestler, Keen, and Red with little
Amar on the side.
Amon. Amon. No.
Yes, go on.
Amar. Ahmad.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Oh my
Aram!
Ram.
We suck. With a little Aram on the side.
Yes.
At least you call him Aram.
If Flippo was here, you would have gotten it right.
He would have
gotten it right.
Flippo.
Hey, Flippo.
Anyway, so these guys, these are central characters, and we're focusing on them, which is fine. But still, the through line between those three characters is none of them trust. We spent the entire season one with none of them having varying degrees of trusting Red or uneasiness and trusting Red. I realize that this is something that drives the show, the need for like this conflict between the task force and Red, this uneasy, these strange bedfellows, this sort of uneasy relationship that we have to have. So the show does work to a certain extent if the task force doesn't trust Red, if the audience doesn't know Red's motives. However, I think the audience is pretty clear on who Red is.
Well,
I mean, in terms of his overall demeanor.
How often
There's
does he have to prove himself?
Does anyone think that Red is evil? Does anyone think that? I mean,
No.
he may have
He's
ulterior
gray.
motives.
He's gray. He's got a
He may
gray
be
area.
gray. He may be a badass who'll shoot you in the back of the head.
Yeah.
He may do some all kind of
No.
crazy ish.
Look, here's the thing. We know that Red has his own motives
Yeah.
that are not the same as the task force, as the government. He has
Right.
his own motives completely. So it's one thing to say like he's pulling Kaja for his own interest. It's one thing to say that he's doing it on his own. It's not. But Rezo's like blaming the whole robbery. The whole thing is a Red thing, and it's like no. It's like it's obvious that Red's just working with you till he doesn't need to work with you anymore.
I feel like he's always the scapegoat when they don't know the answer.
Yeah, they're just
Right.
taking
It's
it too
Red.
far.
But how many times can it happen? Because not only is he the scapegoat when everyone knows the answer, but it's like Lizzie, who has sat with him on the swing and held hands and cried and drank the weird milky drink with him, and in season one,
Yeah, I
and has
remember.
been through all this stuff. And even though at the end of the season one, she had that whole where you're dead to me kind of like monologued with Red. I'm only you're a necessity, but we're done or whatever. And even though she's come back this season a new, leaner, tougher, wigless Lizzie Keen,
Thank God.
the fact that she's going back to this old rap about Red, I don't trust you. You're come on.
I disagree with you on one thing. I mean, look, for the greater good, I mean, she's looking at the greater good, which is sacrificing this one person for the greater good. Berlin is a terrorist, and all of this money will go to causing havoc everywhere. Who knows how many people will die? I agree that, she could be annoying at times, but she is purely going from the greater good here. She has no idea what this woman, Naomi, has to do with her and with Red, and why she's more important than the lives of who knows how many innocents, how many people around the world that could get injured or killed if Berlin is left out there with his assets untouched.
Right, very true. And frankly, for all of my yelling and screaming and belly aching, she made the right decision. She does have the soft spot for Red.
Does she make the right decision? I mean, again, it's the greater good.
She does make the right. She makes the right decision as far as we're concerned as viewers and lovers of the show.
And we've already
we don't
even
want to see Red die. You want to see Red die?
No,
what
we don't.
What are you saying?
But we already see even Kaplan saying, Red, you're acting. Red's even saying passion is a disease, and obviously he's Berlin threw that back in his face and says you're very passionate about the people you love.
Right.
Perhaps you're the one that needs to be careful with your passion. So here we go, seeing Red making a decision to trade Berlin all this money that can cause who knows. I mean, he even said it at the end. He said, "You can give me back my wife, and we can continue this war.
Right.
Or you can kill my wife, and I can keep your assets."
Right.
So really, he pretty much said, "Let's continue this war."
Right.
And Lizzie, that's not Lizzie's job. Lizzie's job is to protect.
No, he also made a plea to Berlin, and kind of said we have a common enemy. Like this is something, we shouldn't be fighting each other. We should be together trying to figure out
who did this.
Who did this? Because I didn't kill your daughter. I didn't do that. So you've been pissed at me all these years. Like I didn't do that. So someone wants you to think I did. That's the person that we both need to find. And Berlin was like, whatever.
Kind of glossed over it. He didn't want to hear it.
Yeah. So
because he's consumed with this idea of revenge.
Right.
He doesn't want to hear it.
But I think the thing we also need to remember about this whole thing with Lizzie's decision is that the way Red plays it up, like she's going to regret her decision, and obviously we're sensing that there's more to Naomi than than we realize. I mean, that last shot was really of Naomi in the car. That
the
last
handoff. No, before
before the handoff. The handoff, like he keeps her blindfolded.
Yeah.
And gets wrapped to her and doesn't there's no embrace, there's no kiss, there's no throw off the blindfold and hug.
There's no acknowledgement
There's no acknowledgement.
Yeah.
It's just get her out of here, Dimbe.
So I'm just really curious to see what this payoff is with her that makes her more important than stopping Berlin in his tracks by taking all his money.
Well, on that, can I ask you what how did you read that scene? How did you read the scene with her blindfolded, Red walking up to her and just kind of putting her in the car? What did you take from that? What does that mean?
The only take I can take from that is that they have quite a torrid past and a big story back there. They obviously had to part ways, and she had to go into hiding, and maybe he did it for her safety.
But not you're welcome, or no, anything like that, or you'll never see me again. Just nothing. Is it like a protective thing?
I think this is going to come out as we learn more about her character of why he made that choice.
Sure.
And why he was willing to sacrifice thousands, the possibility of sacrificing thousands for this one woman. I think we have a lot more to see from her.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. And then and then also in our epilogue sort of thing, after we, get the shot of everyone, we get Wrestler looking at the pills again in the drawer. We get
and Julia looking at me while Wrestler's looking at the pills.
But we do get this we get our Mossad agent talking to Harold Cooper and giving him some very cool intel.
Yeah,
that Cooper's
doing her research.
Great, this is great intel. What do you want from me?
And then they cut away, which makes us think that she wants Red or something with Red.
We think she wants Red, but what she really wants is on the task force. And so he's like, "Cool, you're in."
Which I actually predicted. I predicted that she would be.
Did you?
I did predict last week.
Check the logs.
I didn't predict that she'd be in the task force, but I predicted that she'd be a part of this whole thing. That they're bringing another. It makes sense to bring someone from another government agency in. That this show will go more international. Actually, I did say this show will go more international because they're including her in this.
So she's in.
And they went to Port Warsaw.
So the task force has now become this international task force, obviously, with this. And then
it seems she has a farther reach and less rules.
Right.
So they can gather some really interesting intel from her.
Just for her guns.
We already touched on just to button the episode up. We already touched on the whole the confrontation or conversation with Cooper and the Attorney General. I'm the Deputy Attorney General. we touched on that conversation with those two about Agent what's his name's Salerno's involvement and the money and we touched on that already. And so then we see the last thing we see is this conversation between Red and the Mossad woman and they're friends and it's all part of some plan, right?
Looking forward to working with you. All work, no play makes Jack a dull boy.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that
little
reference.
flirty.
So,
little
yeah.
shining on you and a little shining reference, but also, as we predicted in episode 1, a little flirtation.
A little flirty.
I think I predicted they're going to be a couple.
I think you did.
So,
I think
that was a
one
little,
too. Also, something that was revealed in that last scene before he took that phone call with Lizzie is that he's alluding to that Lizzie might have someone who's giving her some information.
Yeah, the source.
A source, yes.
Right. And Lizzie's like, yeah, I mean, who, me?
You're
Lizzie?
just an asset to me.
What? No.
I hate you again.
Oh, which is interesting.
Yeah, so who's that?
Who could that be?
No idea. Maybe Fitch.
Do you have any idea?
I have no. I'm just throwing like a name out. I'm just saying Fitch.
Tom
Because
Keane.
somebody who knows it.
Anyway, I don't know. That's interesting. Like who that source is. I wonder if it's someone that we know from season 1, or if this is going to be someone entirely new they're going to introduce.
I don't know.
Or yet to be seen. That's all. Again, densely wound, tight, packed with mystery and plot that we can just sort of unravel throughout the season. I like that. It's a good way to do it. All right, so so Red. I mean, like, where does this leave Red in you guys? I'll talk just a little bit about Red. Where does this leave Red in your opinion? Because we see him, because we always see him Mr. Cool, calm, collected, ahead of everyone. We saw him a little almost unraveling here towards the beginning, and then he seems to gain control. We see him in a bit where he's very vulnerable out there. Like, he's depending on Lizzie to save him. He's hoping because he could, as far as he knows, he may die. You never see Red in a position where who knows what's going to happen. So I mean, where does this leave? Do we see a Red that's sort of back in control? And what's Red's larger play here with this Mossad agent? Do you have any thoughts on this? No.
Well, I think the next no, I don't.
right,
Joe.
cool.
And I think the next step for him, now that level of desperation has been quieted a little bit, now that he knows where his wife is and she's back in his custody, in essence, he needs to find out who their common enemy is. I think that's the next step. Because otherwise, this war will be never ending. And this guy is mean. The
super blacklister. I keep waiting for.
Yeah.
Okay, and then and I mean the task force is the task force. Lizzie, the task force. I don't know. What any loose ends here in this episode you missed? Anything you want to talk about, Nando?
Maybe it's Tom. Maybe Tom is the one who's giving her.
I don't think so.
He's the only one I can think of.
I know he's the Fitch. Alan Alda.
Fitch, okay.
Oh, Alan Alda, Fitch.
Maybe they're going to bring Agent Malik back from the dead.
Yes, they'll bring her back from the
Malik,
dead. They have a psychic. They have a psychic that's going to do. I mean, the source thing kind of is out of thin air. So we'll see if that turns into something.
Okay.
As far as loose ends, I can't really think of anything off the top of my head.
All right.
That we haven't covered.
I can tell you, like, for my money, like these episodes have been like, they're really great. They start off with this wonderful bang. This is my only complaint about the Blacklist in general. I'm sorry, world, I've got a complaint on the Blacklist. I'm sorry, but the episodes always start out so great, and they're really, really great throughout, and wonderfully, dense plot and some great action. When we get to the end, those last sequences, that sort of like when the music starts playing and you get the insight into the lives, it kind of like falls apart. Like the whole sequence with her and Wrestler. Like the whole little, her and Wrestler like playing a little footsie.
Yeah, sorry,
okay?
I was so hard on you when his reaction time was so awful when she shot his ass out.
Yes.
Well, because it's going to develop into a
It's like a mile away.
I've been saying that since season 1.
Yeah,
like
we
waiting
all
for
have.
Tom.
The touch on the shoulder.
Little linger there.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's just all that just feels like, all right,
Make him really reconsider taking those pills.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So
Those
I don't
pills.
know. That's only. Last week we had the Wrestler monologue.
Maybe the
This
pills are
week we have,
Viagra.
other things. So
Maybe he's just taking Viagra. He's just getting ready.
getting ready for.
He's getting ready for.
He's
Lizzie
gearing
King.
up.
He's gearing up.
That's-
You ever think about that?
All right.
I did not think about
let's
that. but now I
let's
am.
shift gears into some news and gossip and get some news, I should say.
TV news.
It's been last week was a big week for the Blacklist cast. They were all over the place as we talked about Spader's billboards that are still all over town, which are fantastic. Spader was on Fallon last week, as was oh my God,
Megan Boone?
Thank
Megan
you,
Boone?
Megan Boone.
No problem.
And they're both great, respectively. Spader had just said that he'd been so busy working on Ultron and working on some other stuff on the Avengers movie that he had not had a chance to see all these billboards all over town. He literally would like go do his voiceover and then go, home and sleep and whatever. And he said that he told this great anecdote about a friend of his, like stuck in one of the tunnels, and a bus goes to the side, and it's a big picture of Spader's face. He's like, "Oh my god!" And then another bus comes to the other side, and it's like surrounded by two Spader's faces. So that was kind of a funny story. But he said, yeah, he enjoys the show, and it was a great episode. Megan Boone also was on Fallon the next night, and she started talking about some potential blacklisters, and she let go that a blacklister coming up. A big villain will be the one and only Paul Reubens. Paul Reubens, Mr. Pee Wee Herman himself. Actually playing, thanks Marissa. Actually playing Pee Wee Herman.
Pee Wee Herman Blacklister.
It's Pee Wee Herman versus Red.
Number 3.
Number 3. Yeah, I was gonna say what number
Big
would
top Pee Wee.
What number would Pee Wee be?
No. So that's that look forward to. And then also there's also some interviews out there with creator John Bokenkamp, thank you, talking about sort of parsing out the whole season, basically sort of saying that there will be lots and lots of the wrestler story to unravel, lots of the Herald story to unravel. So what he promised that, as we talked about last week, we'll be able to get into these secondary characters' lives and sort of get them more involved. That's because, we talked about them being little, like, sort of cutout characters last season. So we'll get them, more involved and get some more backstory. And maybe they said some of wrestlers' past may come to haunt him. Ooh. So I don't know. We'll see what that means. But you guys, anything else?
Just ratings wise, you got ratings too? I mean, it was just a bit of a dip from last week. Last week's premiere was really strong. It was 3.4. We didn't get a chance to talk about ratings because we did the show on Monday night last week. Yes. So it was a great, strong showing, but this week it dropped a little bit. It went to 2.8.
Still a good number.
Still a good number. Nothing to be totally ashamed of, but, compared to some of the other shows, other shows last night went up and Blacklist went down a little bit.
Sure.
So, but that usually happens when you promote a season premiere, and sometimes people drop off.
Fine.
It'll be just fine. I think so.
All right, let's jump into some predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
I'm going to break format. I'm going to go first. I predict this season, I will still ask Julia to go first.
I was waiting for it. I knew there was a...
I actually have something of a prediction.
Go.
I think Red's going to be on the hunt for his daughter Jennifer that we talked about a little bit in this episode.
Oh.
What did we reveal about Jennifer? That she had gone into, hold on, wait for it. She was placed in protective custody with her mother in 1990, and the Marshal Service lost contact with her 7 years ago, and she's been unaccounted for. So now that he has Naomi in his grasp, and she kind of owes him.
Yeah.
I think he's going to use that as leverage to get in contact with Jennifer.
Sure.
Boom! Who has predictions this week? Me.
Boom. I like it.
So you predicted that his daughter, who he hasn't seen in years, he's going to actually search for his daughter. So wow,
I'm saying that's a crappy prediction.
That's big. That's big.
I hate you so much.
That's really big. I predict that he's going to have lunch tomorrow.
I'm predicting to wear a hat.
Yes,
week.
I predict he's wearing a hat.
I hate you
How about this for a prediction? I predict that as far as Jennifer's concerned, I'm just going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say that a blacklister has her.
Oh.
Boom.
Okay.
That's a prediction.
All right.
That's a prediction out of nowhere.
Okay.
Okay.
Based on, I have no idea what clue. I'm just saying that. And then,
pulling
of
it out of
course,
your ass,
I'm
aren't you?
pulling it out of my butt. Pulling it out of my butt. And I also say, I don't know. I want to say there's no more pills.
No more pills.
There's no more pills.
Oh.
No more pills.
I want to say no more pills.
Yeah,
All right.
I'm going to stand by it.
I bet you're praying there are no more
And
pills.
Mike is a
you'll
follower.
never hear the F and end of it from me.
And Mike is still a follower.
I'm going to go way out on a limb. I'm going to go way out on a limb here. First of all, I'm on record. I'm already on record with my first two predictions. I'm on record saying, Red and the Mossad agent will have a little
Totally see
something,
that.
something.
That'll be a relationship.
I'm also on record
Sure.
saying by Cooper's wife, Charlene. What's her name?
Yeah, Charlene. We're going to see her.
We're going to see her, and she's not going to make
She's
it.
not going to last long.
I mean, maybe we won't even see her.
I disagree
she's not
with
gonna
that.
Make it.
I disagree with that.
So I just want to reiterate my predictions from last week, but also want to say this is a bold one.
Oh.
That Naomi is gonna flip. I think Naomi is gonna be in league with the super, not Berlin, but the super blacklister.
Cool.
The one who's in charge.
She's a double agent.
I think Naomi is like really upset by the life that she had to lead through Red. I think this may or may not be the last. Either this was the last straw, and she will go help, eradicate Red from her life so she can be free, or she was working with this super blacklister all along to already eradicate Red, and this whole Berlin scheme didn't work, and now she's going to do something else. It's something. Something's off with this Naomi. I just think that Mary Louise Parker's not just there just to be sweet and damsel in distress.
Not just be sweet.
That's what I got.
All right.
And the
Boom!
Boom.
Bam!
Boom.
All right.
Yeah.
That's it for this week. We'll be back with more stuff. But
Don't forget
Nando,
iTunes.
Oh yeah. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Yes.
First, and don't forget YouTube. I'm an a-hole.
Yeah.
First of all, thank
I
you
predict that.
so much. You predicted I'm an a-hole.
predicted
You're an a-hole.
Thank you so much for all you guys who listen to us on YouTube and all of our YouTube. You guys are fantastic. It's been so loyal through both
Even the one who
seasons.
called me homeless.
Even the ones called homeless. And you guys,
Yes.
Please continue to comment and please continue to call us out
up
on
here.
stuff.
You have
and-
names.
Yeah, do you want to hear some names?
Yeah, get some
little
shout-outs.
I have Dave 1555.
Dave.
Amanda Henderson.
Yes.
Mahogany
1985. Oh God, that one's
Sasu.
really Sasu. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, X1.
Yes.
Life is Short 214. Doris Maynard. Pablo Zayas.
Leba?
What?
What? Who?
You missed that one. I didn't say that. I
Deepak
said
Kongham.
What did you? Okay. All right,
Okay.
enough.
Got in
Zero
trouble
fuck
here.
You YouTube.
Choi RM.
Yeah,
Apogee.
There's a
7.
lot. Wow, you guys are really coming
Thank you
up.
so much.
Thanks,
Jose
guys.
Ramirez.
There's a lot
Tiffany
of you. Thank
F.
you.
Lucia de Bon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Say
Cool.
hello. Yeah,
Awesome.
Yeah.
And
many more that I
and
didn't
all of our
catch, so
Twitter
thank
folks
you.
like Langley and Mai.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And,
Even the ones who think Flippo's right.
And
Oh,
Vanilla
God.
Cupcake
Yeah,
and all
even
of our
those,
Twitter
Vanilla
people. Thank
Cupcake,
you
all
so
those.
much.
Thank you.
And please also on
Rate
iTunes, feel free if you're listening to us on iTunes, or feel free to also rate us on iTunes. That really helps other people find us. iTunes is another way to listen to it when you can't watch. You can listen there. So please feel free to check us out on iTunes and rate us. And for those who are doing that, thank you very
I had
much.
the names up, but I can't find them.
It's
So
all right.
so
But
we'll do
thank
that.
you,
We'll get
thank
you
you
next
for
time.
all of you folks. And we love you very much. My chair's sinking. I think I'm like getting
Where can we
smaller.
find? Where can we find you, Julia?
Me?
Yes.
Well, you can find me on Twitter and on Instagram at my name, which is Julia Cearley, JuliaCearley. Stop making fun of me, Nando.
I just laugh.
Where can we find you,
You
Nando?
can find me. I want to watch Midnight Run. I got the hankering for Midnight Run after
good.
that.
So that's where
reference.
you're gonna find him.
So you can find me watching Midnight Run. But you can also reach me on Twitter at Nandovel, Nandovel, and on Instagram and here on AfterBuzz for a bunch of different shows, including Scorpion, which is really really cool. Walking Dead and Homeland starting next week.
Yes, I can't,
Awesome.
I can't believe I got that wrong. 88. Damn it.
By you.
Oh, me. I'm Joe Braswell. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Joe K. Braswell. That's at Joe K. Braswell, Twitter and Instagram. Joe Flippo, who's not here, you can find him on Twitter and Instagram at Joe Flippo. You can also find him on his website, josephsanfilippo.com. And you can find him down in San Francisco, hanging out with Larry Ellison on the yacht, like a big shot.
Yeah, look at us.
He's not on the yacht, but
No,
he
I
should
doubt
be.
it.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.